Let me start off by saying this is not a typical Climate Story episode, but might be the most important one to date. Zwei Morgen Land is a relatively small regenerative farm in the outskirts of Düsseldorf, Germany. From the moment I arrived here, I felt something very special about this place. It has an aliveness that could only be experienced firsthand, and through the magical produce grown on their soil. Alexander, the primary caretaker of Zwei Morgen Land, is a savant of this method of farming. In this episode, we will learn what regenerative farming is, how it's different from organic farming, and most importantly, why it holds the key to solving a big part of the current climate crisis. Climate Story features chefs, entrepreneurs, and creatives at the forefront of sustainability. Take a second to subscribe to our YouTube channel for weekly episodes from around the world. My name is Rishad Mehta, and this is Climate Story episode 16. Zwei Morgen Land, Germany.
Not 1 out of 1,000 people is farming in this way, but it can be a beautiful lifestyle. And the end product of it is just pure life quality. That is something that the industrial agriculture doesn't provide. It is essentially living off the resources of our grandchildren. In German we say ökologischer Raubbau. They're robbing future generations. So these are pimientos de padrón. It's a Spanish frying pepper that's like a really mild chili almost. It's really mildly spicy. Some call it a Russian roulette pepper because only some of them are spicy. Some of them are not spicy at all. And it's really nice for a classical tapas dish just with salt, and these ones fried. And maybe you guys like spicy, I don't know, I don't. Zwei Morgen Land is a small regenerative market garden. And I would like to think that if you look at the soil here before I started my work, and that if you look at the soil after I leave maybe one day, then it should be more full of life and more balanced. That is something that industrial agriculture doesn't provide, and even organic agriculture unfortunately does not provide. Maybe promises not to destroy any further resources, but it doesn't rebuild anything. And this is what I'm trying to achieve here. So, this scale is also an example of customer education, because none of this would make it to sale in a supermarket. These are some spots from the cabbage moth, I think, or flea beetles probably. I don't actually see how it reduces the value of the vegetable in any way, like as far as eating it goes, or this is not something you eat raw, people cook with it. So in my first year I was really picky, and I sorted out a lot of vegetables for them to look Instagrammable, but I think that's the wrong perception of quality. There's a lot of kale like this that doesn't have any holes in it, that's not going to be as good for you as this kale here is. The ideal of regenerative agriculture is that while feeding people, you steward the land. So the produce that you're growing, the animals you're raising, or the vegetables that you're harvesting are, to put it in easy terms, collateral damage of good soil care. And that is regenerative agriculture in my mind, and the ideal that we are trying to demonstrate here. This was my engineering masterpiece here. So when I bought this tunnel, I already had planned to use it for tomato production, but I didn't have anywhere to put the trellised tomatoes on. And I don't know how to weld, and I didn't have the money for steel. And I just bought some rope and figured that it should work like this, and got really lucky, and it works wonderfully. And to be honest, by mere luck, it works really well. And they look really healthy. It's my best tomato season so far. The tomatoes taste really nice. And yeah, if someone was to limit me to only 2 or 3 things that I'd be allowed to grow, I think tomatoes are one of the things that fascinates me most deeply. No organic certification that I am aware of goes as far as small market gardens in terms of growing vegetables and regenerating soil that don't have any certification, just one person and their conscience, and them asking themselves every day, could I be doing better? Is the soil looking better than last year? Did I do a good job? It needs to be a personal process. I think this farm, if you look at it in square meters and the amount of labor that's put in and the amount of resources that go into it, is very, very productive without any fossil fuel inputs or a negligible amount. That everything essentially works with just human labor. I don't know if the IOPC or what it's called, the Klimarat is the German term. They said we have about 8 years to become carbon neutral. Now that isn't going to happen when people farm on tractors and so on, but I've been doing this for 4 years and I'm still by myself. You came here in a time where I'm full of doubts. I'm full of doubts about what I'm doing. I'm not trying to convince you to choose unhappiness for yourself for the sake of climate action. It was a beautiful lifestyle. This work can make you healthy, strong, happy, strongly entangled with the community around you. Everyone eats food. You can talk to everyone. Camera to you. I'm Alex and this is our climate story. I am talking hairs out of my mouth. I hope it wasn't